So let's get right into it. You've been through an absolute battle to get an education, health, and care plan for your child. You've fought, you've pushed, and finally it arrives. But the school they've named? It's just not right. It's a gut-wrenching, stressful moment, but here's the thing. You can challenge it. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how you can fight that decision and win the placement your child truly deserves.
This quote, it just says it all, doesn't it? After all those months, sometimes even years, of assessments and meetings, to see an unsuitable school named in that final document feels like a total betrayal. You know your child better than anyone, and when the plan doesn't reflect that, it's just devastating. But you know what? That feeling, that's exactly where this fight begins. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this step by step. First, we'll look at the challenge you're facing. Then, and this is crucial, we'll dive into your legal rights, your power. After that, we'll talk about building a rock-solid case, choosing between mediation or a tribunal, what to expect if you go to a hearing, and finally, why this is a fight that is absolutely worth having. Okay, so the final EHCP is in your hands. But Section I, the part that names the school, it's just wrong. Maybe it's a mainstream school that's already shown it can't support your child, or maybe it's a place that just doesn't have the expertise they need. The big question is, what now? Well, the good news is that decision is absolutely not the final word. You have powerful legal rights to challenge it.
This is where the whole dynamic starts to shift. This is the part where you go from feeling defeated to feeling empowered. Because the law is actually on your side here, all thanks to a really important legal principle called parent preference. This right here, this is the legal cornerstone of your entire case. It's called parent preference. The Children and Families Act gives you, the parent, the right to request a specific school. The local authority, or LA, can't just say no because they've got another idea. They are legally required to name your choice, unless, and this is key, they can prove one of just a few very specific conditions. Now, what's so interesting here is that these are the only 3 legal arguments the LA can possibly use to refuse your choice. And the burden of proof? It's 100% on them. They have to come up with cold, hard evidence that your choice is unsuitable, would cause chaos for other kids, or is a wild misuse of money. Vague statements like, it's too expensive, just don't cut it. These are seriously high hurdles for them to clear.
So, knowing your rights is step 1. Step 2 is all about building a case that's so packed with evidence, so strategic, that the LA simply can't argue with it. This is where all your hard work is really going to pay off.
Your very first piece of evidence starts with your research. You need to be able to show why your preferred school is the only one that will do. Every single one of these points becomes a brick in your wall of evidence. Look at their expertise, their class sizes, the therapy they offer, the physical building, even the school's general vibe and approach. It all matters.
And this is so important. When you visit a school, I want you to put on your detective hat. You're not just a parent on a tour, you're a fact finder. Take notes on everything, snap photos if you're allowed, and most importantly, watch your child. The reaction to the environment can be some of the most powerful and compelling evidence you have.
Okay, you have to get ahead of the LA's arguments because, trust me, they're pretty predictable. They'll almost certainly say your choice is too expensive. Your counterargument? You show them how an unsuitable placement now will lead to massive future costs down the line. When they say, mainstream can cope, you hit them with all the evidence of how it's failed in the past. You have to be ready to dismantle every single one of their arguments with facts.
So once the LA makes it official and refuses your choice, you'll come to a fork in the road. You can either try mediation to see if you can work out a deal, or you can go straight to appealing to the Tribunal. This is a really important strategic decision. Let's look at mediation. On the plus side, yeah, it can be faster and feel a little less confrontational. But, and this is a big but, there's absolutely no guarantee you'll get a resolution. Some LAs are known to use it as a stalling tactic. And the most important thing to know is that any agreement you make isn't legally binding, like a tribunal order. It's a risk you have to weigh up.
Now listen closely because this is a vital piece of info. To even be allowed to appeal to the tribunal, you have to get something called a mediation certificate. But here's the trick. Getting the certificate only means you have to contact an advisor and consider mediation. You are not required to actually attend the meeting. If you know it's a waste of time, you can get that certificate and file your tribunal appeal. That is your right. For many families, this whole journey ends up at the Tribunal. Now, I know that word can sound incredibly intimidating,
But I want you to reframe it. It's an independent, expert panel whose whole job is to hear your case fairly. It's a structured process, and being prepared is everything.
This is your tribunal toolkit. You need to put together an evidence bundle that is absolutely watertight. We're talking the full EHCP, every single email between you and the LA, all your detailed notes from school visits, and any reports from professionals, like psychologists or therapists. The more organized and thorough you are, the stronger your case will be.
Just knowing what the day is going to look like can make a huge difference to your nerves. It's not some big mystery. The panel, which is usually a judge and one or two experts, will introduce themselves. You'll get to present your case. Then the LA presents theirs. The panel will ask a lot of questions, you might hear from witnesses, and then you both get to make a final closing statement. It's formal, yes, but it's logical. If you only take one single piece of advice away for the hearing, please let it be this. The LAA will try to talk about budgets, about policies, about procedures. Your job every single time is to calmly and clearly be a broken record. Bring the entire conversation back to your child. Every point you make, every question you answer should be framed around their specific needs and why your chosen school is the only place that can meet them. So, after all that stress, all that paperwork, all that preparation, why is this fight so incredibly important? Well, because this isn't just about what school building your child sits in for a few years. This is about their entire future. And you know what? The data shows that parents who go in prepared have a really high chance of success. A huge number of cases result in a full win, where the parent school gets named. And what's really fascinating is how many LAs give up and settle before the hearing even happens, usually right after they see the mountain of evidence you've prepared. Your hard work forces them to back down. And when you win, that decision is final. It is legally binding. The local authority has no choice in the matter. They must amend the EHCP. And they must pay for the placement at the school you fought so hard for. That is the real power of the tribunal. This quote just hits the nail on the head. You are fighting for so much more than reading and writing skills. The right school can literally transform a child's mental health, build their confidence from the ground up, and set them on a completely different, happier path for life. The stakes honestly could not be higher. So as you go through this difficult, exhausting process, I want you to keep this one question right at the front of your mind. Think about the potential, the happiness, the friendships, and the future that the right environment could unlock for your child. Because that is what you're fighting for. And it is a fight you can absolutely win.